Okay, I get it. You suck at anatomy, you're bad at drawing poses, and your family doesn't love you. Well, I have some do's and don'ts that have personally helped me. Number 1, context. Now, before you even draw, you gotta ask yourself, what is the context behind this drawing? What is the scene? A lot of people start off their drawing with nothing in mind, just their 2 brain cells. That's why a lot of the time, their characters just be floating in space. What is this? Among Us? Pathetic. Now listen, you don't even have to draw a background. If you're too lazy to draw a background, you should at least add a ground, okay? First, you need to draw a plane like this. And after that, only after that, can you start your drawing. Now let's talk about the story. Maybe your character is sad and depressed and emo. Well, in that case, I'm gonna draw a character who's kneeling down and crying. Maybe we could draw some saliva dripping down. Yummers. And then we're gonna add a shadow for dramatic effect. Now this is a good composition right here. 10 out of 10 pose. Somewhere in this drawing, you can see the golden ratio. Okay, another example. Maybe your character is trying to seduce someone. So in order to max out their sex appeal, I will have them lean on the door frame with open body language and nice eye contact, and the other hand is holding onto the door. This creates a very breathable environment. Are you getting my point yet, chat? The point is that your character needs to interact with the environment. Doesn't matter if your character doesn't have a background, you just need to give the viewers proof that there's a world around them. Even though, let's say, your character is just in a white space, there still has to be like a ground that they're standing on, right? Let's say your character is like doing some karate poses and they're not on the ground. Bro, just because they're not on the freaking ground doesn't mean there is no freaking ground. Add a shadow, man. There has to be some dimension. That is the very bare minimum to having an interesting pose. Don't just have them floating around in space. They are not Among Us. The next thing you want to think about is the personality of your character. When you're drawing someone, don't just draw them without keeping in mind their character. If they're shy and introverted, I don't think you should draw them in JoJo poses. You know, they're not the type to be flexing their biceps at you or T-posing to assert dominance. They would probably die of shame before they do so. So, a rule of thumb I learned about body language is shy people tend to make themselves smaller. For example, they often cross their arms, or maybe they slouch to keep attention off them. Meanwhile, extroverted and outgoing people make themselves bigger. They're not afraid to take up space, meaning their range of motion is very broad. And yes, that includes T-posing. So yeah, literally both of these are correct. It just depends on their personality. Now that you know the context and personality of your character, let's now learn the basic anatomy stuff. First, line of action, or how I'd like to call the scoliosis line. So this is how some of y'all be drawing bodies. It's literally just a straight line. Bro, why is your character standing like a Roblox character? How pathetic can your character be at this point? Listen, most people don't have perfect posture 24/7. In fact, you're probably slouching right now as you're watching this with your pathetic artist shrimp posture. Imagine there's a line on the shoulder and the hips. They're parallel to each other. This is boring. So instead of doing that, you just draw an S-curve like this. S stands for scoliosis. You can add 2 lines like this, which is for the shoulders and the hips. Now, as you can see, they're not parallel anymore, which makes it more dynamic. Now, let's try to draw a decent looking body. Right. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes symmetry looks good, but it's low-key hard to make it look good. Most of the time, it just looks like your character is doing yoga. Now, this is the submission of a viewer. This guy always submits their art. I recognize it because their art always has ginormous badonkers. So anyway, this is alright. Juicy lips. Yes. But the pose. Bro, you focus too much on the chest that you overlook the rest of the body parts. Bro, why does the stomach look like a chum burger from the chum bucket? Anyway, the easiest way to make this more interesting is to add the 2 lines. Remember, not parallel. And from there, we can draw the body. Aside from that, I also put her hand on her waist just to make her look more confident and assertive. Once we got the sketch done, let's just make it cleaner. And for some reason, it got more crappy after I removed the sketch lines. Oh well. So you can clearly see the shoulder and the hip line are not parallel. And you can see that there's a line of action that this drawing follows. follows. Hashtag scoliosis curve. It low-key ended up being a pinup style drawing, but it is what it is. Next, triangles. So other than the scoliosis curve, you also want to add triangles. Illuminati? Let me explain. So let's say you want to draw a person sitting on the ground or something, and your pathetic imagination manages to come up with this. Not bad looking, right? Wrong. Look at what this looks like when we turn it completely black. What you're seeing right now is the silhouette. What is this? Who's that Pokemon? The heck is that? You don't really know what's going on with the character here. So this is what you want to do. You want to add some triangles. Oh yes, Illuminati. So the reason why we're adding triangles is to add more depth, okay? It's to distribute the visual weight evenly across the canvas. This can help avoid a cluttered or unbalanced look in your artwork. I am reading this off of ChatGPT, by the way. Listen, I'm not an expert. All I know is that it looks good, okay? It helps you avoid tangents, making your drawing look more 3D, which is why when you're trying to find a reference, make sure that your reference doesn't suck. A lot of the time when you find a really good reference, you can almost break it down into simple shapes, and that is what makes a good reference. Okay, now we're finished. Let's just turn her into a silhouette. Right, see that? Do y'all see the difference over here? She went from who's that Pokemon to draw me like one of your French girls. It's these little gaps that make all the difference. So now let's apply everything we said. Here is a golden triangle of drawing poses. Of course, I just pulled this out of my butt. It's not official. Context is how your character interacts with the environment. Personality is personality. Shy person equals make themselves smaller. Outgoing person equals T-posing. Pose is, well, the body language, of course. Now, let's say I have an OC named Patricia. Now, all I gotta do is fill up our wonderful cheat sheet. So, for our context, I just want her to be smoking and sitting down. Not too hard, right? Now, for personality, she's a femme fatale. I don't know how you pronounce that. Anyway, she's just badass, okay? Whatever. Then, for the pose, I want her to be laid back, yet confident and seductive. So, first, I'm gonna start with the line of action, with the lines and all. And with that, let's just draw a sketch. Now, even though she doesn't have an exaggerated pose, it's still not boring because she has the scoliosis curve. Now, let's give her some clothes. I'm gonna give her a turtleneck dress with a triangle cut out so you can see her booba. It's modest yet playful, just like her character. And I'm gonna make it red. Bro, this is literally just Ada Wong. So yeah, the only way you can draw good poses is if you think about the context of the drawing first. It needs to convey a story. In this case, you can tell from her expression that she's this hot, seductive mommy. Look at her pose. It's relaxed and laid back, but at the same time, it's confident and there are triangles, you know? And now you know. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Watch this next and I'll see you there. Stay cool.